Hey guys, how's it going? Let's talk about Thor, Love and Thunder. Thor, Love and Thunder is a 2022 American superhero film based on Marvel Comics, featuring the character Thor. This film is a sequel to the 2017 Thor Ragnarok and the 29th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This film stars Chris Hemsworth, Christian Bale, Tessa Thompson, Jamie Alexander, Russell Crowe, and Natalie Portman, among others. But of course, this is not a review. This is a British fan's retrospective thoughts and opinions on this Marvel Cinematic Universe film. This film was highly successful, grossing $761 million at the box office from a $250 million budget. I am once again thankfully joined by Warhawk Beyond 2040 in this retrospective, and due to the fact that he practically covers everything that I wanted to say about this movie, I'm just going to let him take control and do his thing. Let's hear what Warhawk has to say.
As we saw at the end of Avengers Endgame, most of the Avengers either died or went their separate ways to do their own thing, and we saw Thor go off with the Guardians of the Galaxy. So we kind of more or less got to see what Thor was up to after that. So we saw Thor joking around and fighting alongside the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I thought that side of the movie was enjoyable. I thought that was really good, and as we all remember, Thor put on a lot of weight at the end of Avengers Endgame, and we saw him pretty much get back into peak condition. I thought that was quite enjoyable. As far as the rest of the movie is concerned, I felt the movie was a little bit on the short side. I felt it could have been a little bit longer. Way too much comedy in this movie. I felt that there's too much comedic stuff going on, not enough serious stuff going on. The stuff with Thor and Jane Foster, I thought was probably the highlight of the movie, where she was suffering from cancer and she became the new Lady Thor. I thought that was probably the best thing about the movie. Maybe they could have expanded more on that in terms of the emotional aspects of the movie. Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman had great chemistry in terms of that story arc. Tessa Thompson was pretty much okay as Valkyrie. It was more of a Valkyrie movie. It wasn't really enough for Thor. I mean, Thor did get a good, decent amount of screen time, but I felt it was more like Thor was taking a backseat to his own movie. Now, as far as Christian Bale's performance, I thought Christian Bale was absolutely fantastic in this movie as Gore. I thought he really came across as dark, evil, and creepy. I definitely would have loved to have seen more of him, maybe a bit more into his backstory, because we saw him at the beginning with his daughter. Would have loved to have seen a little bit more on that. But I thought Christian Bale, to his credit, delivered the best performance that he could with the material that he had to work with. As I said, overall, this movie was okay for what it was. A little bit on the short side. Could have been a lot longer and maybe tone down the comedy a bit more. Russell Crowe as Zeus, bit of a hit and miss for me, considering that it was a cameo. Not one of the highlights of the movie. As I said, I think Christian Bale's performance as Gore, the whole story arc with Jane Foster's cancer, with Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman was definitely up there.
Before I give some final thoughts on this film and I give my final rating on this film, I would like to hear what Warhawk has to say about a rating and why he rated it what he did.
Now, my overall rating for Love and Thunder, I'm going to give this an honest 6 out of 10. It wasn't bad, it wasn't good, it was kind of average. So I would probably give this a 6 out of 10. There was some good stuff in here that I enjoyed, but there was some stuff that I wouldn't necessarily say was bad, but I would say was a little bit on the weak side. I definitely would say the good outweighed the bad a lot more. But as I said, there just was a few things that could have been expanded on a bit more, and there were some things that maybe we could have just cut out of. Not one of the better MCU movies, but it's not one of the worst either. Interested to see what direction they'll take Thor in next, because they said that he's going to be getting a 5th movie.
Once again, I agree with the majority of what Warhawk is saying in his retrospective. This film is a 6 out of 10, and that is my rating. No more than a 6, no less. It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. The runtime way too short, and like Warhawk said, the comedy was just nauseous at times, too much comedy, and I don't like the lighter direction that Marvel is going in over the last few films. Although saying that, I'm not going to be overly negative. I would definitely recommend this film to all families, couples, singles, etc. So enjoy it if you watch. Please like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.